Good morning and welcome to the second day of racing here at the Henley Women's Regatta. We're starting off with the time trials for the junior doubles, the Rainer Cup sponsored by Colgan Foundation. You've already seen the first two crews go past. They were Miami International and Molesey Boat Club. And just in your shot now we have the King's Ely B crew of Whiteside and Burke. In the pink, that's the South Jersey crew that come from the United States of Caton and McDonnell. Caton will be attending the University of Michigan next year, and Reagan will be attending Stanford University in the fall. So this will be one of the last times that they'll be racing together. So let's see what they can do. And behind them, much more local crew of Maidenhead Rowing Club. Crew number 351, that's Queen Anne School of Hillison Green, straying slightly close to the booms on this side of the course. And as they come past now, you can see they've settled onto their rhythm and now they're going all the way down to the finish. This commentary position is located at the barrier, so just off the end of Temple Island. So we've got a lovely view all the way down to the start of the crews in their marshalling point. And also we can see the crews as they paddle up for their time trial in the background on the other side of the booms. We've already had the majority of the junior singles go past on the way up to the start as well. Here comes that crew number 353, that's Walbrook Rowing Club. So no sign of Henley Rowing Club coming past yet. Crew number 354, this is from the Sir William Perkins School. This is their B crew of Stenning and Kirkhope. Large entry from Sir William Perkins at this entire regatta. They've also got coxed for another double and I believe a quad racing. And they're all these junior time trials are happening this morning all the way through. So the next race will be the junior singles and then the junior coxed fours and the junior quads. Coming past now is the Hinksey Sculling School of Ferry and Willoughby. And there at the camera at the quarter mile, you can see the three crews in your shot are these schools from the school from Kent School of the USA, who actually have already raced in the UK at Reading Amateur Regatta in the championship doubles. So they've already had some racing experience since relocating over to the USA for their racing for the end of this season. Behind them is the Sir William Perkins double as well, just coming past the commentary position now. And in your shot in the green was NCRA of O'Donnell and Bates. Now you can see the crews going off the start just to Temple Island on their right as the course moves out onto the booms of the protection, but also as you exit Temple Island they'll be hit by slight gust of wind. Conditions are very quick this morning. There's clear skies, there's not much wind, but still exiting Temple Island you're still going to get that gust as you come out and settle onto your rhythm. So this purple crew is Wycliffe College of Brown and Weaver. And then this double here in the light blue is the King's Ely A crew, a very local crew. Here they train at Cambridgeshire on the River Ely. It's a lovely stretch there. There's a really long straight of about 6 kilometres. Not much to distract you on the side of the river, so you can really focus on your rowing there. And you can see here they have really nailed their technique and they're really knowing how to row this Henley course. Just exiting Temple Island there, they'll be settling onto their rhythm now. And then this double here going off the start is a composite of Durham in the bow seat and Staines Boat Club. And this is the crew from Hinckley Sculling School again, this time they're B crew. And this is Fulham Reach just paddling off the start now, rating high as they come through to the start of the timing point. So again, the composite crew from Durham and Staines just exited Temple Island. Now they're settled onto their rhythm. Now they're working their way down the course. Here in their Filippi double is the crew from the American School in London of Zolt and Bake. And now Reading Rowing Club, just paddling up to the start now. You can see they're building their rate. This is the double from St George's College in Weybridge, and this crew here of Stewart and Walters raced in the championship girls double sculls at the National Schools Regatta earlier in May, where they achieved a bronze medal, so they'll be one of the more stronger crews in this category today. Here come the Reading crew just coming past as well, that came fourth in last year's British Junior Championships in the women's J16 doubles. This year in the Championship Girls Double Sculls at the National Schools Regatta, they narrowly missed out on a place in the semi-final by 3 seconds. So here we have the St George's crew now just coming out of Temple Island. And now here just paddling up to the start, building their rates, Cheltenham Ladies. They have two crews entered in this event, both starting one behind the other, so no doubt there'll be a rivalry there amongst the squad, chasing with one double chasing the other down. So this first double is of George and Nutton. Here as we switch to reverse shot, you can see lovely view of Temple Island in the background. Crew number 375 Cheltenham Ladies just settling onto their rhythm now, looking very strong. And now this is the final crew in this event, the junior double sculls, the Rayner Cup, sponsored by Colgan Foundation. This is the crew from Yarm School of Wood and Portsmouth. You can just see in the background of your shot there all of the junior quads paddling up ready for their time trial, which is coming after the next event, the junior singles, the Di Ellis Trophy. And now we move on to the time trial for the junior singles, the Di Ellis Trophy. You can see there's the first crew just paddled off up to the start. That's from Sheffield City, and it's the crew of Baker. There are 23 entries into this event, 16 of which will qualify into the next round, and 8 of those crews will be seeded. A lot of these singles raced in the championship girls singles at the National Schools Regatta, and we'll mention those results from the singles that did as they come past, which gives us a good indication of what the results could potentially be here today as well. Now we just see the Sheffield crew there just straying slightly towards the booms. They need to straighten their line. Just exiting Temple Island now. And now they're back on their course and they can continue heading down the course. It's a lovely drone shot. You can see in the background the second sculler just exiting Temple Island from Globe Rowing Club. That's Abby Collins. She raced at National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls Single, where she came 30th in the time trial. And in the centre of your screen just then, you could see all the junior quads as well. So here we have that Globe Rowing Club sculler, Abby Collins, settled down onto her rhythm now, just coming past the quarter-mile marker. Camera switching now to the sculler from Thames Rowing Club, their A entry into this event. That's Sasha Halsey, who raced at National Schools Regatta, where she came 6th in the B final of the Championship Girls Single, just 14th overall. And that's the American school in London, sculler Eloise Lambden, who raced also in this event at the National Schools Regatta, coming 27th in the time trial. Camera switching now to the Westminster School sculler, who finished 8th in the A final, so one of the more stronger athletes in this event. And crew number 384 from Wimbledon High School, that's Saskia Brewster, who placed just ahead of the sculler from Westminster School at National Schools Regatta. She finished 7th in the A final of the Championship Girls Singles Sculls, where she finished only 0.3 seconds ahead of the 8th place rival you can see in the background from Westminster School. So there is definitely a rivalry here. You can see just taking a look over her shoulder there to see where the Westminster sculler was. She'll be chasing her down. Now this is the sculler from Headington School in Oxford, Rachel Granger. At the National Schools Regatta, she actually raced in the Headington second 8, which achieved a bronze medal. So she sat at the 6th seat, so she's had to come out of that 8, switch from sweep rowing to sculling, and also into a lot slower moving boat. She'll have to adapt her rowing style to fit in with the single scull rather than the 8. So we'll see here how she fares after making that switch and racing only a couple weeks later. Coming off the start now, this is crew number 387 from Twickenham Rowing Club, Ella Wilson, who placed 28th in the time trial of this event at the National Schools Regatta as well. Camera just switching now to crew number 386. This is the Thames Rowing Club B entry of Hannah Stephen, who placed 32nd in the time trial, of this event at the National Schools Regatta. And we've just switched to the start now. This is 388 of Cambois Rowing Club, of the crew of Furness. Going through the start now, crew number 389 from Warrington Rowing Club. This is Ella Stanhope, who last year raced at the national championships in the single scull. She achieved a silver, and also raced at the Munich International Regatta this year. She finished second in the B final at national schools, coming 10th overall. Crew 390 from Glasgow Academy. This is Anna Buchanan, winner of the B final of the Championship Girls Singles at the National Schools Regatta. And now going through the start, this is the Twickenham Rowing Club B entry, who raced in the championship singles at the Reading Amateur Regatta, and where she finished second, beating a university rower in the process. So she's had her fair share of successful races recently. Well, no doubt after the success of Reading Regatta last weekend, she'll be moving on, prepared for this race during this week. Crew 392 from Cheltenham Ladies. She placed 42nd in the time trial at a National Schools Regatta. Not one of the strongest athletes in this event, but no doubt hoping to make it through this time trial, where 16 qualify despite the 23 entries, so not everyone's going to make it through to the afternoon racing. Now we switch on to the Walton Rowing Club sculler, who was a bronze medalist in the J17 singles at the National Sculling Regatta, and also placed 20th in the time trial at the National Schools Regatta, just missing out on a spot in the AB semi-finals. Going through the start line now is the St Paul's Girls' School sculler of Humphreys. Lovely drone shot now down the course. You can see all of the scullers making their way down to the finish line, panning down through past the barrier where we are now. From Yarm School, this is Hazel Wake, who finished 12th overall in the Championship Girls Single Sculls at the National Schools Regatta, and also has an offer for a place at Oxford University next year, so no doubt we'll be seeing her in one of the Blue Boat crews maybe in a short while. There you can see rating high as she goes off the start, just ready to exit Temple Island. Switching back now to the St Paul's Girls' School sculler, who's settled onto her race rhythm now. You can see she's slowly reeling in the crew behind her from Walton Rowing Club. You can see the puddles of that crew and now the Walton sculler in the background there. Just going through the start line now, straying over towards the edge of the course. We can see in the background the Hinksey sculler of Alice Vine, and this is the Sudbury Rowing Club entry of Amelia Moore, who finished 13th overall at the National Schools Regatta. Now she's slightly overcorrected on her line. Now she's straightening up. Just exiting Temple Island now, that's Sudbury sculler, Amelia Moore. Approaching the quarter-mile marker now on the course. Just a few athletes left in this event. We've got 3 more scullers to come from Isle of Ely Rowing Club, Headington School and the William Perkins School. So here you can see the Isle of Ely sculler, Phoebe Hayden, who've placed 5th overall in the Championship Girls Singles Sculls at the National Schools Regatta, one of the strongest athletes in this event now. You can see that here. Very smooth rowing there. Just coming off the start now from Sir William Perkins School. This is our last time trialer in this event, the Junior Singles Sculls, Annabelle Taylor, who placed 6th in the double sculls at the National Schools Regatta. So she has moved away from the double, gone into the single by herself now. You can see all the scullers there on your screen making their way down the course. Coming up for the next time trial is the junior quads. So William Perkins sculler just exiting Temple Island now as the camera pans round. And now we move on to the time trial for the junior quads, the Bay Language Trophy, sponsored by Scott Investment Partners. There are 36 entries into this event, only 16 of which will qualify. You can see just lining up, ready to paddle off towards the start line for their time trial. It's the crew from Latimer Upper School A, from the Tideway, of Lloyd, Scavatza, Murphy, Anderson and Matthews. They're just waiting for the all clear from the umpires, ready to paddle off, making sure that their line is straight. And in the background there, the crew doing their warm-up. You can see the junior coxed fours, but now Latimer have paddled off. You can see rating low, and then slowly building up the speed, ready as they hit maximum pace going through the timing line. Brilliant shot there with Temple Island in the background. This crew train on the Tideway. Their boathouse just situated one side of Hammersmith Bridge. So they will be prepared for the worst conditions, but there's no need for that today. Perfectly flat water here on the Henley course. So this is now crew number 402, an entry from Team Keene, who have grown their junior squads substantially and have regular placed and won across regattas on the Tideway recently. They have their boathouse up by Kew Railway Bridge, so not too far from Latimer Upper, who they're chasing down. Just a bit of steering there they need to correct to make sure they stay straight. So they're heading towards the booms now. You can see the bowman looking round their shoulder. Exiting Temple Island now, they've corrected their steering and are back on track to head down the course. Now this is the crew from Putney High School A of Moore, Bridges, Miles and Zedda James. Now going through the start, it's crew number 404 from the Lady Eleanor Hollis School of Summers, Subak Sharp, Combington and Taylor. All four of these women rode in the GB France match in 2017 for two of them and two of them in 2018. The bow pair won gold at the British Junior Championships in 2018 in the women's junior pair, and the stern pair won gold in the women's J16 Cox 4 at the British Junior Championships. And they are all scullers who have returned to the quad now after 2 years of sweep rowing. This is a crew from Lee Rowing Club. No change in this boat from the quad that placed 6th in the National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls Quads. Sorry, we mentioned there about the Lady Eleanor Hollis School and their recent successes. That was actually the results of the Lee crew. Apologies. Now coming off the start there from Abingdon Rowing Club. Going off the start line now is the Lady Eleanor Hollis B crew. Large entry from this particular club in this event. 2 crews, both of who will be aiming to qualify. And now the camera switches on the quarter mile to the Surbiton High School crew that have just exited Temple Island. You can see there the quarter mile marker in the background. It's just the crew of Sanders, Sutton, Hunter Young and Moore. Just paddling off the start line there. Tideway Scullers School had 1 change from their quad that raced at National Schools Regatta, which placed 5th. You could see there, paddling off the start, they actually started from front starts and did a slight racing start. We've seen different techniques to how you'd start this time trial from different crews. Some paddled and then built up the rate and speed, where you can see this Tideway Scullers crew just went straight into a racing start, building onto speed as if it were a regatta rather than a time trial. Now this is the quad from Globe Rowing Club of Atkinson, Schoenberg, Richards and Offila. See Tideway Scullers in the background there have picked their line very carefully, straying over to one side of the course on the Berkshire station. And now this is the Gloucester Hartbury crew, who placed 4th at the National Schools Regatta. So you have a large entry from all of these A finalists at National Schools. They've had 1 change in their quad since that crew that placed 4th. Now switching back to the start, it's the Walton crew paddling off. Could just see there the bow seat Maddie Jackson just making sure that the boat's straight before they set off. Now they're powering up to the start line. This crew of Jackson, Grimshaw, Thomas and Catlin. There you can see Jackson calling the start from the bow seat as they went through the timing marker. And now we move on to the Bedford Modern School crew of Britton, Wang, Reed and Rowe. So in the 3 seats is Jess Reed, who competed for Great Britain at the Munich International Regatta in May. She also finished 4th at the National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls Single and has now come into this quad for Henley. And this crew failed to make the top 12 at the National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls Quads, failing to qualify for the AB semi-finals, so they've now brought in Jess Reed into the 3 seat, hoping to be one of the 16 crews that make it through to the side-by-side racing this afternoon of the 36 entries in this event, junior quads. Coming at the start there, that's Kingston Girls School, Chorley, Blake, Abbott and Bergman Chornick. They're already well underway down the course, just coming out of Temple Island now. I can see them in the distance, slightly straying towards the booms there. Need to make sure they get straight soon. Now you can see that Kingston crew have got straight. Now they're well underway down the course, they've settled onto their race rhythm. Now switching to the crew from Sir William Borlase School of Jill, Falconer, Helen and Husa. Going off the start there is the second entry in this event from Putney High School. Now going off the start there in the blue and black, I believe that's the crew from Monmouth. Now switching to the Putney High School crew here, you can see they're just going past the umpire's launch. Look from the bowman there. Now we're switching to the quad from Henley Rowing Club. Have a huge advantage here on their home water. This is the crew of Hills, Hahn, Bellamy and Brown, who are all part of their Henley Rowing Club second eight, which competed at the National Schools Regatta. And they also won gold at the championship quads at the National Schools Regatta, so one of the stronger crews in this event. They stand out as the ones to beat with these impressive wins at National Schools: the Metropolitan Regatta, Wallingford Regatta and the Scullery. Last year, Henley crews won both this event and the J16 equivalent of this event. So, huge favourites to win here. Going off the start now is the Canterbridgian Rowing Club crew number 420. Going off the start line now, building up their rate as they come through the timing marker, the crew from St George's College in Weybridge. Very calm stretch of water where they train alongside Walton Rowing Club. Now looking back at this crew from Canterbridgian. Just here in the background as the Henley quad come past. Coach cycling along the bank, cheering them on, giving them encouragement. And now coming through the start line is the quad from the Hinksey Sculling School of Foster, Wilson and Blythe. So two Fosters in this boat, racing together. And now this is the crew from Wallingford Rowing Club of Wilkinson, Burdess, Morrison and Robson. Here we have crew number 422, Hinksey, just coming past as they exit Temple Island now. As the camera moves, we can see Latimer Upper, crew number 424, their sea entry into this event, doing a standing start. as they paddle off to the start line. And now they're building their rate.
Those blades in! All the way to the finishes! Come on!
Back it up to the start. Crew number 425 is the entry from Latimer Upper School, their B entry. We're chasing down their classmates now. This is the crew of Seal, Kuma, Jones and Warham. They are the B entry, so we'll be expected to beat this C entry and close the gap onto them, as the C entry just to exit Temple Island now. You see there's the C entry crew there. Back up to the start now. This is the crew from York City Rowing Club. Now going off the start line there. It's the quad from Emmanuel School. Have their boathouse situated just by Barnes Railway Bridge on the Tideway. This crew placed 4th in the non-championship girls coxed fours at the National Schools Regatta, and have now had to make the switch from sweep rowing into sculling. It's a lot slower moving boat, the coxed four, so transitioning into the quad may have been quite difficult, also losing their cox and having to have someone within the boat making the calls rather than the cox. Here we have the drone shot. You can see we're following this Latimer Sea crew as they make their way up to the barrier now, entering the enclosures. There you can see in the green from NCRA just having a bit of a tussle with the boys. They need to get straight now. This is the crew of Thomas, Wild, Brankin and Murray. And now they're heading over to the other side of the course. Bit of a shaky start for them, but no doubt they'll settle onto their rhythm and move on from that early mistake. Now we switch on to the crew from Marlow Rowing Club, their A entry into this event, of Brogan, Robbins, Dabinet and Lombardo. In the 3-seat there we can see Dabinet, who raced in the Munich Regatta for Great Britain. And this Marlow crew also has a good club reputation behind them. Their predecessors made it to the final of the Diamond Jubilee at Henley Royal Regatta last year, and it looks like this crew is ready to follow into their footsteps. They won the B final at the National Schools Regatta and also 3rd places at Wallingford Regatta and the Metropolitan Regatta. Now crew number 430 from Ridley College in Canada. They've come all the way over here to race at Henley Women's. This is the crew of Broski, Cook, Drennan and also Cook. So we welcome our viewers from Canada who are watching early in the morning, watching this crew racing. We'll be expecting to see them making it through this time trial, ready for the afternoon side-by-side racing. Now the second entry from Marlow Rowing Club, their B entry going through the start line now. You can see on your screen there. This is the crew of Pryor, Forlonger, Robertson and Stillwell. Now switching back to the Canadian crew from Ridley College. They'll have had time to come over to Henley this week, train on the course, get used to the surroundings, blow out the cobwebs of the crew since travelling over. Now going through the start, this is the Headington School crew of Marks, Gothard, Van Olesen and Rossington, who finished 3rd with a bronze medal at the National Schools Regatta in the Champ Quads. You can see really aggressive off the start there, heads dead straight, slight look over from from the bowwoman marks there to get straight on the course. Headington did also have a double entered earlier on in the time trial programme, which scratched due to an injury. Now we can see a drone shot there of the start line. This crew ready to go through the start line from Shrewsbury School, just paddled off now. We switched back to the Headington crew as they exit Temple Island. So there we see this entry from Shrewsbury School. And here we can see a composite crew all racing with different coloured kit and also blades. This is a composite crew from Scotland of Clydesdale, George Watson and also Locke, to name a few of the clubs entered. This is the crew of Morrison, Bell, Dickerson and Young. And here we have the Shrewsbury crew now, just a shot of them coming past the quarter mile. Otherwise we can't see on your camera, but I can see that the Henley B crew has ended up in the booms. They're stuck. Now coming off the start there, it's another crew from Oxford City. So here you can see the Marlow B crew, just in the booms there. Right, coming through the start line now, the final entry in this event from the Lady Eleanor Hollis School, their C entry. This is Bellamy, Lowe, Amexa, Taylor and Deal. Exiting Temple Island now. So we also go past, we can see the City of Oxford crew have managed to avoid the Marlow B crew, which is still stuck in the booms. They're just sitting there, they can't get out. I think they're going to wait for the end of the time trial list to come past and then see if they can safely rejoin the course and race to the end. There you can see them there. It'll be a real shame for them. They will have trained all season, so nobody wants to see a crew end up in the booms like that. How it's very unfortunate. As Lady Eleanor Hollis now just exiting Temple Island, need to make sure that they avoid this Marlow crew behind them. Don't know if you could hear there, but the Marlow Rowing Club crew that are in the booms, their bow woman's blade is twisted round and is caught, so there's not much they can do now. Need to sit and wait for assistance from an umpire's launch. As the drone pans down, you can see them just there on the left-hand side of the booms. Here they are. As I said, it's a real shame here for Marlow. Definitely hoping to have qualified into the afternoon's racing. And that concludes all the time trial lists for this event of the Junior Quads, the Bay Langridge Trophy, sponsored by Scott Investment Partners. This is the camera on the finish line. This is the Headington School from Oxford A crew entry, just making their way through the finish line now. So still 5 crews on the course. You can see Headington just crossed the finish line there. The next event will be the Junior Cox Fours, the Groton School Challenge Cup. Now the Marlow crew managed to become unstuck from the booms. Check if the equipment's okay. I'm not sure if the rigger has been damaged in this incident, but no doubt they'll want to continue down the course. You just see they're getting straight. We can see now here that the Marlow crew have got moving. It seems that the equipment has been damaged in the bow pair, so they are paddling stern pair down to the end of the course. If we just look there, you can see the bow woman holding her stroke side blade. Seems that the gate has twisted all the way round. And now we're moving on to the time trial in the Junior Coxed for the Groton School Challenge Cup. This first crew making their way down the course now is the entry from Headington School. This boat is comprised from the second boat crew that won silver at the New England Championships. No, that's the wrong note. Now the camera's switching to the crew from Great Marlow School, just going off the start there. As the time trials have progressed, we've moved on from the singles and the doubles now into the larger boats. Next event will be the Junior 8. And here we can see this is the second crew in this time trial, crew number 438 from Kingston Rowing Club, the crew of Shelton, Harwood, Medcliffe, Quinn and Conda. Now going off the start line there, it's the crew from Durham Schools. Very hard stretch of river to learn to row on in Durham. Very tight bridges, not much space, a lot of bends. But they're here on the Henley course. This event has 21 entries, 16 of which will qualify into the side-by-side racing, and 8 of these crews of these qualified crews, whoever they may be, will be seeded as well. Now as the camera pans on to the start, this is the crew from the Godolphin and Latimer School, based on the Tideway. This is the crew of Lane, Bleach, Grussing, Bonner Morris and Thorogood. This crew, we look here at the Durham Schools crew, just making their way up to the quarter-mile marker now. Going off the start line here, this is the crew from Glasgow Academy and Glasgow Schools. It's a composite crew, again, as we see from these Scottish entries. And now moving back onto the Godolphin and Latimer crew. There we can see as the camera zooms in on the bowwoman Grace Lane. This crew missed out on entries last year, so this will be one of their only experiences of racing Henley Women's Regatta so far, coached by Dan Safdari. And now this is the crew from Shrewsbury School of Fox Davis, Curran Taylor, Ford, Lovick and Halfpenny Edwards. Just going off the start there with their bow-rigged boat. Zooming in there on the bowwoman in this composite Scottish crew. That's Miller. And also you can see in the stroke seat there, Patton leading the crew all the way down the course. They've settled onto a nice rhythm. Now moving on to the third crew today from Walton Rowing Club. This is the crew of Poole, Look, Stenning, Donaldson and coxed by Roberts. Paddling through the start line now, crew number 445 from King's School, Canterbury. I have a stern loader boat here. You can see the cox sitting in front of the stroke seat rather than lying down in the bows of the boat. Now moving back to this Walton crew. You can see there on the side of the boat the boat race logo. It seems that they've borrowed this boat from Cambridge University Women's Boat Club for this event. And going through the start line here, this is another entry from Oxford City Rowing Club. So far today, this is the third crew that we've seen from them. This is the crew of Berridge Fernandez, Paul, Gianchino and Twin. Now crew number 445 moving back onto King's Canterbury. Looking here now, this is the coxed 4 from the Sir William Perkins School. This crew were winners of the Reading Amateur Regatta in this boat class last weekend, and also bronze medalists in the non-championship coxed 4 at the National Schools Regatta, and since then they've had no changes to the crew. Now looking at crew number 454 from King's Worcester. You can see we'll call out the names now. This is Colborne, Emsley, Havercross, Evans, coxed by Emily Watkins. You can see them exiting Temple Island now. Looking now, this is a composite crew from St Paul's Girls' School and Tideway Scullers. who both boat out of the same facility, so no trouble there in organising their training. Based at Chiswick Bridge, Tideway Sculls and St Paul's Girls. And now at the start line, this is Stratford upon Avon Boat Club. Looking back there at the King's Worcester crew, they raced a coxless 4 at the National Schools Regatta. They've since then brought in the cox Emily Watkins, so there is no boat class for juniors in the coxless 4, so they've had to make this transition into the cox 4 since then last month. You can see them there just moving on past the quarter mile. Now moving back up to the start line, this is the penultimate crew in this event, the Junior Cox 4, the Groton School Challenge Cup. Crew from Pangbourne College, Follett, Sawbridge, Allen, Myhill and Zala. You can see there with their bow rig and the bucket on stroke side at seats 2 and 3. Powering off the start, building up their rate now as they come through the timing marker. So one more school to come in this event. And the Junior Cox 4s, Canford School, will be appearing soon. You can just see that they have paddled up to the start line ready and are building their rate while the camera stays here on this Pangbourne College crew. You can see them there just in the background, those blades. And here they are. Crew from Canford School, Whitram, Imms, Hewitt, Sullivan and Reed. Reed in the cox seat. See them there, all heads forward, complete focus and concentration as they make their way down this Henley course. Perfect conditions here for time trialling, and so concludes the time trial list of the Junior Cox 4s. Lovely drone shot there, you can see the Canford School as they exit Temple Island, making their way down towards the enclosures at Remenham. A lot of noise there coming past the commentary position, this Pangbourne crew. You can just see them there, the crew in the background on the left hand side of the course. On the Buckinghamshire side of the station. Now on the Berkshire side, you can see this Canford crew. Chosen a different approach to the course on the opposite side to the Pangbourne College crew, which they are chasing down. Moving on to the final junior time trial event of the day. This is the Junior 8 time trial, the Peabody Cup, sponsored by Simmons and Sons of Henley. We can see this is the first crew that are just approaching the quarter mile mark, leaving Temple Island. This is Emmanuel School Boat Club, based just on one side of Barnes Railway Bridge. This crew finished third in the B final at National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls 8s, and have also had a development day training with with the Great Britain rowing team coaches at Caversham. With a strong set of results over the past season, the Emmanuel crew looks to be going into the up-and-coming race in a relatively strong position. But now here we can see paddling through the start, this is a crew from Wimbledon High School. A couple of J15s in this crew, such as Emily Palmer in the bow seat, who won a silver medal at the National Schools Regatta in the girls' J15 8s. This is crew number 459.
Do you want to leave that behind for your
Thanks, mate.
colleagues and successors rather than everyone asking? Just saying, don't kick the arse out of it, please, but don't share it beyond.
I'll leave it unless they ask for it. Yeah. How are you, alright?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
All pretty smooth and good?
In the United States, we welcome our viewers from the USA. This first boat crew won the New England Championships for the third straight year and also led the effort to secure the team trophy. There are 4 seniors in this crew. You can see them there just making their way out of Temple Island now. They also competed in the Youth National Championships before making this trip to the UK. The St Paul's crew has travelled to the race at Reading Amateur Regatta and Women's Henley for the past 25 years, with girls crew winning multiple times at Reading and also in the Peabody Cup at Henley in 1996, 1998 and 2001, and finished second in the Peabody Cup in 2011 and 2017. So they're no strangers to success in this event. You can see them there coming through. These clubs have continued to race in annual competition each year. Many junior national team members and Olympic rowers took their first stroke at St Paul's School in the USA. And this team is coached by the Reverend Michael Spencer and Miss Deborah Vaux. Now coming through the start line here, this is the crew from Bedford Girls' School A, the crew of Knight, Whitehead, Ormond Wheeler, Amers, Nisbet, Hadaway, Sinister, Baker, Batten and Parry in the coxing seat. You can see them there with their distinctive purple coloured blades, just coming out of Temple Island now. Various members of this Bedford Girls' School crew raced in the women's J16 8s, which came 7th overall at the school's head, and then followed this with a B final win at the National Schools Regatta. In addition to this, the girls' 4 took 1st, 2nd and 3rd place at Kingston Head, and came 4th in the women's coxed 4 and Nottingham Head of the Trent. It does seem that this crew is a little less experienced rowing together, but nevertheless it will be interesting to see how they pull together. Now back to the start line. We can see this crew from Henley Rowing Club. Massive home advantage for this crew, who won Reading Amateur Regatta over Reading Bluecoat School, who we'll see in a couple of cruise times, by over 4.5 lengths in a course that's barely 2 kilometres long. Massive margin. Home water advantage, and these are actually the Henley Rowing Club's second 8, and it's their, although this is a second 8, they are still the fastest second 8 in the country and finished 7th overall in the National Schools Regatta in the combined Championship Girls 8 and Championship Girls Second 8 event. We can see here that the Henley crew aren't going all out for down the course. That's because there are 8 entries into this cup, and all of these crews will be making it through to the next round, and all of them seeded. So there's not much to gain from this time trial apart from warming up and race experience. So you can see there the Henley crew playing today's racing very tactically, paddling through down as they approach the quarter mile. And now crew number 463, this is another composite from St Paul's Girls' School and the Tideway Scullers School. You can see the Tideway Scullers School athletes in this crew racing in the red, white and yellow, and the St Paul's Girls' School racing in the white and black. Now the second last crew to come down the course on this time trial for the Peabody Cup. This is the school, Enniskillen Royal Girls School from Ireland, so welcome our Irish viewers watching. This is yet another strong crew entered for this event. The Enniskillen crew have had an incredibly successful season, which they should be proud of. Recently, certain crew members rowed in the women's J16-4, which won the National Schools Regatta, and the girls also took 4th place at the Girls' Championships 8s at the school's head. A remarkable achievement. In terms of more local races, they raced at the Commercial Regatta and the Erne head of the river, and other races in Ireland where they achieved various successes. And now, moving back to the start line, this is the final crew to come down in this time trial for the Peabody Cup, sponsored by Simmons and Sons of Henley for Junior 8s. This is Reading Bluecoat School, coxed by Raisin, and we can see here the stern pair of Jackson and Lee raced in a pair at the National Schools Regatta, where they placed 24th in the time trial, and have since moved into the stern pair of this 8, hoping to lead their crew to success this afternoon in the side-by-side races. Most of this crew came 3rd in the women's Junior 8 category at the Hammersmith Head this year. Fantastic achievement for what is a smaller, lesser-known club than some of the others racing here in this event. The juniors have done fairly well at other recent events, with 5th place for Junior 15 and Junior 16 8s at Quintin Head, and 10th place in the girls' school's first 8 at the school's head of the river back at the end of March.
You join us for the qualifiers, the time trials for this year's Henley Women's Regatta 2019. There's 4 entries here, all 4 qualify. 2 of these are seeded. This is the Championship 8, sponsored by Colgan Foundation. Newcastle University Lager from the Netherlands, Princeton University, United States of America, and then the composite Imperial College Marlow Molesey Boat Club, that composite crew representing the Great British entry. So it's Newcastle, Lager, Princeton and the Imperial Marlow Composite. In this, the time trial for the Championship 8s. After this, we'll have the time trial for the Championship Lightweight Double Sculls. And then last up is the Lightweight Pairs. And then we head straight into racing. Before the smaller boats, we have the time trial for the Championship Quads for the Bourne Cup, sponsored by Nina Padwick, University of Tulsa, Exeter University, Tideway Scullers School and London University, Molesey Boat Club, the Composite of Edinburgh and Leander, and then crew number 475, the last one there is Leander Club.
We can just see here coming past the camera shot now. This is a composite crew involving athletes from Molesey, Oxford Brookes, Marlow, and also you can see there in the 5-seat the unisuit of Imperial College London. This will no doubt be an entry from the British rowing scene. And just here with the drone shot following crew from Princeton. But now we're moving on to the time trial for the Championship Quads, the Bourne Cup, sponsored by Nina Padwick. All 6 of these crews will qualify into the afternoon's racing, so we don't know if we're going to see some crews that will play it safe like we saw with the Headington Junior 8 and paddled through this time trial. But we can see here this first entry from the University of Tulsa going through the start line, who've made this trip all the way from the United States. We welcome our viewers watching there. This is the crew of Undest, Coleman, Olawumi and Forster. Exiting Temple Line, now you can just see a look there from the bowwoman. She takes a look round, making sure that her line is straight. And then we'll be moving on to the second crew. You can just see in the background there making their way through the start line. This is the crew from Exeter University. But yes, Tulsa just exiting Temple Island now, setting onto their race rhythm. There's Exeter, you can see them there. I followed this crew on their training session last Thursday down in Exeter, doing mostly drills, following lots of their crews, including their Cox's 4, which we'll be seeing racing earlier as well. So this crew making their way through now. We can see it's the crew of Little, Lingard, Oladoban and Semple. Big weekend for Exeter today. They've got a lot of crews racing at the Marlow Regatta as well. Coached by Richard Tinkler and also with their men's captain, who've also led the coaching for these past few weeks, Matt Bladen. And now we can look here. This is a composite crew of Tideway Scullers in the middle pairing, and then in the outside pairing is the athletes from the University of London. So University of London represented by Wilson and Hart Winks, and Tideway Scullers represented by Wilkinson, Feller and Wallins. Exiting Temple Island now. You can see they're still rating high. They'll be coming down onto their race rhythm very shortly. In hot pursuit of them, we have this quad from Molesey Boat Club A of McDonald, Weatherhead, Primer and Rodriguez. Just adjusting their steering now as they're straying towards the booms. Two more crews to come down in this time trial for the Championship Quads, the Bourne Cup, sponsored by Nina Padwick. We've got the composite crew from Edinburgh University, Leander, Newcastle and Molesey, who will be coming into your shot just there. Coming through the start line now, you can see the Edinburgh athlete in the stroke seat. That is Glover. Then sitting behind her, we have Adamson, Anderson and Harding. This will also be a Great Britain contingent entry representative. No doubt be racing this summer at one of the World Rowing Championships. That's crew number 474. Again, we'll be moving on to crew number 475 just there. That's Leander Club, the final crew in this time trial for the championship quads. Straight entry from Leander Club. This is the crew of Maitland, Merridew, Carmichael and Ashford. Just come off the start line there. See, powering down the course. This is their home race. Once huge success here, so there'll be 3 races in this event this afternoon. And now exiting Temple Island, this is the time trial for the Championship Lightweight Double Sculls. This is the entry from Upper Thames Rowing Club of Ashcroft and Sadler. Crew number 476 racing in their home race. Upper Thames Rowing Club located just towards the finish line of this Henley course. Following them is the B entry in this event, 2 entries from the University of Tulsa. Very large contingent of American entries in this event of the Championship Lightweight Double Sculls. This Tulsa crew is of Backus and Galloway. And now this is the crew from the University of Nottingham. The crew comprised of Price and Hill. You can see the final 2 crews here. This is the crew from Princeton University, the crew of Mays and Boylan, and closely behind them we have the University of Tulsa. So 3 entries from the United States in this event of only 5 crews.
Sheet at a time, a bit boring, but that's
Here we can see the championship lightweight pair from Sydney University straying very close towards the booms. The crew are Taylor and Franz, but they've now got straight as they exit Temple Island. That's crew number 481. And we can see there, this is the pair from Tideway Scullers School of Potter and Wagstaff. And now we can bring you the results from the time trial of the junior double sculls. And these 16 crews will go through to the heats. They are Miami International Row House of the United States, Molesey Boat Club, South Jersey Rowing Club United States, Maidenhead Rowing Club, Queen Anne School Boat Club, Walbrook Rowing Club, Sir William Perkins School B, Hinksey Sculling School A, Nottinghamshire County Rowing, Wycliffe College, Sir William Perkins School A, Fulham Reach Boat Club, Reading Rowing Club, St George's College, the Cheltenham Ladies College A and the Cheltenham Ladies College B. So we just see there the drone following this crew from Sydney University in Australia. And now the camera moves on to the crew from Cambridge University Women's Boat Club, the pair of King and King, going off the start line now. We can also bring you the time trial results from the junior single sculls, and the following 16 crews have qualified into the heats. They are from City of Sheffield Rowing Club, Baker, Globe Rowing Club, Collins, Thames Rowing Club A, Halsey, Westminster School, Colmeyer, Wimbledon High School Boat Club, Brewster, Headington School A, Granger, Twickenham Rowing Club A, Wilson, Cambois Rowing Club, Furness, Warrington Rowing Club, Stanhope, Glasgow Academy, Buchanan, Twickenham Rowing Club B, Obacoho, Walton Rowing Club, Phantom, Yarm School, Wake, Sudbury Rowing Club, Moole, Isle of Ely Rowing Club, Hayden, and Sir William Perkins School, Taylor. Now back at the start line is this final crew going for the time trial in the championship lightweight pairs, the crew from Oxford Brooks of Haskins and Styles. They're just making their way through the start line now. Here's the crew that we didn't mention earlier, the crew from Newcastle University of Chestnut and Truett, chasing down the crew from Tideway Scullers and being chased by Cambridge University Women's Boat Club. And now on to the results for the junior quads. The following 16 crews have qualified through to the heats this afternoon in the junior quads. They are Latimer Upper School A, Lee Rowing Club, Surbiton High School, Tideway Scullers School, Gloucester Hartbury, Bedford Modern School, Monmouth Comprehensive School, Henley Rowing Club, Hinksey Sculling School, Latimer Upper School B, York City Rowing Club, Emmanuel School, Nottinghamshire County, Marlow Rowing Club A, Headington School, and the composite Clydesdale George Watson's College Scottish crew. You can see there the camera following the Oxford Brooks crew as they approach the quarter-mile marker, making their way down towards the enclosures. And that concludes the heat today at the Henley Women's Regatta on the second day. The next racing will be at 10:20, starting with heats for the aspirational lightweight single sculls, the Fiona Dennis Trophy, beginning with the first race at the sculler from Oxford University Lightweight Women's Rowing Club versus the Aberdeen Boat Club.